Well, another NBA season is officially in the books, and the Golden State Warriors have won the NBA championship, getting their solid redemption from last year after blowing a 3-1 lead to the Cleveland Cavaliers. And the Golden State Warriors and the Cavs just played in the finals for the third year in a row, and it's probably going to be the same thing next year because the NBA is kind of dead right now. No competition anymore. People just don't like the NBA as they did years ago. I mean, the only reason I still watch the NBA is because I still support and am faithful in my Boston Celtics. As you can see, I'm wearing my Paul Pierce jersey right here. The truth. Because, fans of their teams just stay loyal. That's what a true fan is. But the thing is, though, it's unfortunate that nobody really likes the NBA anymore because the competition is just gone now. Gone. And not to mention LeBron James, who is definitely one of the greatest players of this era. Definitely one of the greatest, but still not the GOAT in my opinion. Michael Jordan will always be the GOAT if you ask me. I mean, I would love to say that Bill Russell is the GOAT since he has 11 rings, but rings are not the only thing that produces greatness. At least he's the best defensive center to ever play the game. And thing is, team there were teams that used to build on talent through the draft. But for the Golden State Warriors, what I will give them before they got Kevin Durant in free agency, which was a pretty weak move in my opinion, they at least built their stars through the draft. They drafted Steph Curry, they drafted Klay Thompson, and they drafted Draymond Green, whom I really dislike because he kicked Steven Adams in the nuts and that he disrespected Paul Pierce greatly. But nevertheless, he was drafted and he became an all-star, and I think he got Defensive Player of the Year like twice, I believe. But they were built through the draft. Katie was the only player they bought, and LeBron here, back to him. He did kind of start this super team fiasco and he went and joined in the Heat. He did in 2010. And the difference is with him and KD, LeBron was the Cleveland Cavs and no help around him, but he did go to the Heat with Chris Bosh. They came together with Wade and won a couple of championships together. And it may not be as detrimental as KD's move of going to the team that beat him and went 73-9. And it's not like OKC was one game away from playing in the NBA Finals, right? Wrong. Um, they were up 3-1 and choked in the last three games, and Katie just joined the team that beat him. I mean, and the Celtics kept taking LeBron down in the playoffs, but LeBron didn't go join the Celtics. The Heat still appeared as a super team, but LeBron at least didn't go and join the team that beat him. And that would have been like the biggest effed up move ever. But Katie pretty much is because LeBron kind of paved the way for super teams now. And the funny thing is, Kevin Durant in 2010 and had on Twitter, now everybody want to play for the Heat and Lakers. Let's go back and being competitive at these peoples. Where were you 2010, Kevin Durant? Such a hypocrite. I mean, I wouldn't have minded if he joined the Celtics, and no worries, I'm not that mad that he didn't join in the Celtics. I did expect him to stay in OKC, but I was wrong on that too. But him joining Boston at least would have been tolerable because it would have made the East more interesting. Because the Boston Celtics are kind of the closest team that can and try to compete with Cleveland. I mean, I'm glad they just won one game against them, but they're the only team that can come up to them. Depending on how well they do in the offseason, maybe they could do even better. But don't you miss when teams used to build the Celtics of old would build their team straight from the ground, and they still try to, even though they did get Al Horford in free agency. But sometimes they do free agency, but they mostly built. Celtics of old mostly built. Lakers of old mostly built their teams, and the San Antonio Spurs especially he built their team because Greg Popovich is a genius. He's kind of like the Bill Belichick of the NBA. Hey, Greg Popovich knows how to build a team and have them succeed. Shout out to my man City of Champions 95. He knows exactly what he's talking about when it comes to the San Antonio Spurs. They know how to build. Oh, and they still do to this day. But with the days of super teams and buying through free agency now, the NBA is just not what it used to be. And don't you kind of miss those days? I certainly do. Oh, anyway, I guess that's all I got to say about the NBA, and I'm just glad that the NBA draft is in a few days, is with the Celtics with the number one pick, thanks to stupid Brooklyn Nets. As and I know they're considering drafting Josh Jackson, but I'm kind of afraid that if they do that they won't pursue Gordon Hayward in free agency. Draft Markelle Fultz. Anybody but Lonzo Ball, please. Is That's all I got to say, and I'm checking on out of here. And I can't wait for the NFL to start, and hopefully the NBA could be better in a few years, even though I don't expect it to. Guess you could just look forward for another Cleveland Golden State Finals next year, and maybe the next few years if they keep their same players.